I'm going to be blunt about this. He didn't have a good season.
And this is where I draw the line. You can kiss my ass, Matt. Sound like a Tennessee hater. I don't know who the hell that is, but it ain't me. Let me get something straight, Matt. You and I are not the same. What's good, guys? It's your boy Corte finally here. I'm about to look at this video everybody's been talking about for the last couple months. Originally, I didn't want to do it. Being an athlete, being any type of sport, you're going to get constructive criticism. You're going to get people that don't like you. You're going to get people that don't like your game. That's just part of it, being an athlete. But it's just been reoccurring. A lot of people coming through the stream. A lot of people DMing me, asking me questions about football, recruiting, and coming to my stream and feeling sorry for me. I don't want any sympathy. I just want the truth to be out there. I want the actual facts to be out there. And so I'm about to watch this guy's MattBeGreats video and set it straight, because it's a lot of misinformation in this video that what I've heard and what I've seen. I've never watched a video fully through. I watched a little bit of it a while back, and I was just like kind of turned the other cheek to it. Now I want to watch the full video because some people have pointed out some things to me. One thing I want to talk about is, who is that? Because that ain't me. That's crazy. I don't know who the hell that is, but it ain't me. But let's get this video started. Let's go start it, man.
If you're an athlete, I'm pretty sure you've at least seen this picture 1 to 2 times in your life. Or in other terms, he's flexing that he has an offer from almost every school in the country. Some people have said,
let's address this right here. Okay, for all the people that don't know or haven't been through recruiting, these are recruiting letters. These are schools that are interested in me. This doesn't necessarily mean I had offers from these schools. Majority of these schools that are displayed in this picture, I did have offers from. But just because you see somebody in a picture or flexing or quote unquote showing recruiting letters doesn't mean they have an offer. So that's one of the biggest things I've been asked and questioned about. This doesn't mean you have an offer from the school just because they're sending you letters. The school has a system, and they put your name in it because they're interested in you and recruiting, and they send you letters. They just put them in an envelope and just shoot it out and disperse it. That doesn't mean anything. The second thing, I was not flexing on this picture. Actually, I didn't even think about this picture in itself. My grandmother came up the week before signing day, or sometime before signing day, and she was amazed at how many recruiting letters I was getting at the time from all these different schools. So she was like, you should take a picture in it. And I was like, nah, grandma, I'm not like that. If anybody that knows me personally, my friends, my family, I'm a very humble person, very laid back, quiet. And I was like, nah, I don't even want to do that. She's like, get in the bathtub, I'm gonna dump them all on you and take a picture. I kid you not. I took this picture and my phone literally froze. Like my Twitter, like I couldn't even use my phone because there's so many people liking it and so many people reaching out. I mean, I feel like every social media platform at the time that was big, ESPN, Barstools, everybody, news, local news, was trying to reach out to me and talk about it, and also try to figure out who was my top 5 schools. So definitely wanted to clarify that.
I know this motivated at least a couple of
Definitely
kids.
motivation.
Come on now, let's be honest and admit the fact that at one point in our life we wanted to recreate this photo. But I saw it resurface the other day and it really had me thinking, what?
Yeah, I saw it resurface like a couple months ago. It's pretty funny that a lot of people were tagging me in it. I didn't think this picture was actually going to actually have this effect on type of people, or how it was going to carry on this long. Like, I took this picture in 2014, like I was in high school, like I was just chilling. But it's funny that so many people have tried to recreate this picture within the last year. We're recruiting and tagged me and be like, how did I do? You were my motivation. And I kind of took it hard to me. Like, I didn't realize people like actually looked at this picture as motivation and kept it this long. I thought it kind of like died down and went down the drain, because social media back then when I was in high school wasn't that big. It was on the upcoming rise, but social media is totally different than it was back then. And if I would have did something like this now for the first time, it would have been crazy. Oh, we got ads? I got an ad? He hit me with an ad with my own video?
Posted this picture on Twitter and said, quote unquote, drowning in my decisions, ... Pop.
I didn't even think about that caption either. My grandma did. My grandma, hey, y'all better watch out.
Here's what Sapp had to say about it. It literally was her idea. It wasn't something she pondered over for 3 or 4 hours. It was bam, bam, bam within minutes. He was in that tub and she was putting the milk.
That's incorrect. I don't know where he got that information from. Or somebody misquoted me because it wasn't my mom. My mom didn't do that. So that's incorrect as well.
He started out and enrolled at a high school in Milton, Georgia as just a sophomore.
The
He was
M!
only at the school.
Rep the M. Milton's the best high school in the nation, man. I'm going to shout out to the M. Shout out Coach Sly. Shout out to Miss Alicia. Shout out to Milton Sports, man. I love Milton. They've treated me with all respect. Every time I come back home, I feel like it's my home, like my second home. I'm not originally from Georgia. I'm originally from Florida, but rep the M, man.
He was a 4-star recruit, ranked in the top 250, and was ranked as the 23rd best overall player in Georgia. If that wasn't enough for you, listen to this. He was the 5A Defensive Player of the Year as a senior for his team. If you're from the South, you're going to understand what I'm about to say. If you can get Defensive Player of the Year in Georgia, that's almost the equivalent to getting National Player.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The South, hey, Georgia, Florida football is the best football. I don't care what anybody have to say or want to argue about it. We all know Georgia and Florida, Louisiana, Texas run football. California, they on the map too because, you know, the state of California is big. But, you know, Georgia and Florida and the southern states run football. So I agree with that, you know. I agree with that statement, what he said.
I'm a big college football fan, and why in the world, if you're a 4 or 5-star recruit, would you pick Tennessee? At the time when he...
This is a third question I've been picked. A lot of people have been asking me about and wondering why I picked University of Tennessee. So this would explain why this guy isn't a valuable source or a source in the sense of what he's thinking. Just because you are a 4-star or 5-star don't mean you can't go somewhere and want to create something of your own. For my instance, if you go back and look at the 2015 class at University of Tennessee, was arguably one of the best recruiting classes ever. We beat out Alabama for that recruiting class. We had some dogs in that recruiting class, and the biggest conception for that class was like we wanted to go to UT and change UT and put UT back on the map. Obviously, University of Tennessee, if you know football, UT used to run football back in the day, in the early 90s, mid 90s. Peyton, all the guys that were there, University of Tennessee was that team to beat. They were that team to try to beat. Obviously, nowadays with Saban at Alabama, Florida and Georgia, with Kirby Smart at Georgia, you know, those teams are putting themselves back in the position to compete in the SEC. But that was the motive, and that was the narrative that we, like as recruits in 2015, wanted to do. We wanted to put UT on the map. Did it happen? No. We obviously some adversity came through, coaching change, development, injuries, and a lot of things that happened. But that's why I wanted to go to University of Tennessee. I actually grew up like I said, I'm from Florida, and I grew up a Gators fan. And I was all about Tim Tebow, Demps Rainey, Riley Cooper, Spikes. I love the Gators. And I took a visit to the school, and at the time, Will Muschamp was at the school. And I grew up with a single-parent mom, and my mom was really important to me. And she didn't really fill out at Florida. So I actually kind of was really upset because I really wanted to go to Florida. And in high school, I was 205, 195 junior year, playing outside linebacker / safety. And they needed somebody immediately to make a effect at the linebacker position. So I ended up relocating and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I took a visit to Michigan State. In Michigan State, I loved Coach Dan Antonio. I loved the experience, but it was too damn cold. I felt out of place. Everybody in Michigan had, Timbs. I didn't own a pair of Timbs. Like I said, I'm a Florida boy. I have no Timbs. None of that. So I picked University of Tennessee because it was close. It was a great opportunity to play early. It was a great system. Coach Thigpen, which is the linebacker coach at North Carolina now, we had a great connection. And Coach Jones pulled me in, and I felt like I made a good decision on that. Like I said, a lot of adversity had happened at University of Tennessee, a lot of coaching changes, and it's part of it. You have to it's part of sports and anything, not necessarily football. You have to see how you react to things. And I kid you not, one of the biggest things I tell people that all those players from 2015, even before 2015, 2013 to 2018, I think, a lot of those players went through a lot of different things. A lot of people don't speak on how hard it is for players to go through a coaching change. A lot of people don't understand that when a coaching change happens, the coach fires everybody from nutrition all the way up to administrative, basically, and those relationships that you have are tarnished, with your trainer, your weightlifting coach. At University of Tennessee, the 4 years I played there, we had a different weightlifting coach every year. That is something hard and continuous, really hard for your body to go through, because that's 4 different weightlifting coaches that have 4 different regimens. They have 4 different mindsets on what you should be doing, what types of lift. One wants to do Olympic lifts, one wants to do heavier lifts, one wants to do light lifts and resistant bands. So a lot of the things that we're going through as kids, 17, 18 years old, it was hard. A lot of people don't understand that. They just see the outside in. They see the outcomes of people getting injured, the losing record, or going down after my sophomore year. They don't see the inside, the in-home stuff that goes in.
I'm not a Tennessee hater, but they're not good.
Sound like a
so
Tennessee hater.
It didn't make any sense when he could pick any other school that was way better. Going into Tennessee, he was projected to be the starting linebacker and make an immediate impact.
Damn, another ad?
3 football games. Lot.
But however, with all that good stuff,
False. I was not immediately supposed to be starting. Shout out to my boy Maben. Jalen Reeves-Maben was a linebacker there. And he was a great linebacker to be playing behind. He actually starts middle linebacker for the Detroit Lions right now. And Maben was there. I was supposed to be behind Maben and learn behind him and actually be mentored into the position. Maben actually stayed another year than he actually did because he got hurt and he tore his labrum and he had some shoulder issues. So it kind of pushed back what I was supposed to be falling into, but it didn't all, hindsight of things, it all worked out. I learned a lot from Maben. I really appreciate him. So shout out to my boy Maben.
He said, this is where our story takes a bad turn. As quickly as he arrived at Tennessee, he got injured in his first season. His first year at Tennessee.
The next question. We just gonna cut this in out. I did not get hurt my first season there. I had a lingering injury from high school. Like I said, I played both sports, basketball and football. Never been hurt, never missed a game. You can ask my athletic director. Shout out to Coach Sly, man. I love you, Sly. I have never missed a basketball game, never missed a football game to any type of injury. I had a lingering injury. I had a stress fracture. If you guys don't know what a stress fracture is, it's basically it's a potential injury that could lead to something else. So basically, I had a stress fracture in between my third toe. And it was very minor. It was kind of aggravating, but I didn't know what it really was. And I asked the training staff about it. And then so later we found out it was a stress fracture. And they were like, we don't want this to get worse. We don't want you to potentially break your foot or break a bone in your foot. So we're going to sit you down. This is another fact that a lot of people don't know. You can play 3 to 4 games in college football or anything. I think basketball is a little bit different. I think it's about the time regimen. But in football, you can play 4 games and still redshirt. So I played 4 games on special teams, what is typical for young players to do as they get into their role. They're contributors on special teams, not immediately to defense. I played special teams, and then when I found out that, they were like, we're going to sit you down, and by the time you recover, I had already recovered. It was already late into the season, mid-season. They're like, look, just redshirt, get your body right, get your mind right, get healthy, gain weight. Like I said earlier, I came into college at 205, prepare for next season. So I was like, ego-wise, mentally as a player, obviously everybody wants to be playing, everybody wants to be on TV, everybody wants to contribute. But the smart thing was to sit out for the rest of the season, get in the weight room, get in the film, and understand the defense better. So I didn't get hurt. It was an injury from high school that I didn't even know about, and it wasn't something that was for holding me from playing. It was a decision by UT Medical, which I agreed with. It was hard, but I wanted to get myself right for the next season.
To make things even worse, when he was at Tennessee, he also tore one of his ACLs while he was on a kickoff. When he tore his ACL, that was just the 3rd game of the season.
Okay, so this is actually my first ever injury I ever had. This is crazy. Like, he just bumbles all the information in together. It's hilarious how he puts it together. So my first game ever starting for University of Tennessee, I was on kickoff return, not on kickoff. I don't know where the hell he getting this information. I swear, guys, y'all need to fact check him. Like, his Wikipedia information is ridiculous. I was on kickoff return, and my first game, it was kind of unfortunate how it went. My first game I was supposed to start, one of my teammates, Jumper, that's my boy, but it is what it is. I'm over it. He told me to go out there take a rep for him on kickoff return, and I did. It was a sky kick. At the time, we had Evan Berry at the back at kickoff return, and he was one of the best kickoff returners in the nation. And they kicked the sky kick, and obviously on kickoff return, one of the hardest positions in college football. If you know football, you know that front line, them guards on kickoff return. It's a lot of stuff that goes on, and you got to be a head buster. You got to be fast. Basically, make a long story short, I saw the sky kick. I turned around probably like 10, 15 yards, and before I could turn my body fully around, one of the guys on kickoff hit me, and I planted my knee and tried to catch myself and brace myself, and it just gave out. And I tore my ACL. My season was gone after that, and it was very unfortunate. Like I said, it was my first ever major injury I've ever had. I've never been injured before. It was really a life-changing event for me because, like I said, I'd never been injured, and I worked my ass off in the off-season so hard to get where I was. I gained weight. I was like 220 at the time. I was so prepared to play, and I was so excited. And I tore my ACL. It was a really hard time for me. I lost like 30 pounds. I ended up going to Dr. Andrews in Pensacola, Florida to get my ACL surgery. Shout out to Dr. Andrews. He's the best surgeon ever. And I'm thank God that I didn't have any other injuries or any lingering issues with my knee. So that is what happened. Other than that, I didn't have any other injuries. Besides my senior year, I had a bone bruise. But it's part of football. Injuries happen. That's my point. This guy made it seem like I was injured the whole time my college career. This is ridiculous.
As an athlete who's had injuries similar to him, I can say they're the worst thing ever. Not only
Let me get something straight, Matt. You and I are not the same.
from a mental standpoint, it's so hard to come back from an injury, especially if you have more than one, because you feel like you want to give up.
I
We still
agree.
have a long
I
way to
agree,
go in our
especially
story,
being
and
a
it's
first-time
really sad
injury.
because he didn't even get a chance to show what he could do. For a guy coming off of 2 major injuries, he had a decent year. He finished the season with 75 tackles. And
So this was my first year actually playing fully through the year, and which really sucked. As the Tennessee fans know, the first 2 years of UT from 2015 to 2016 were the high years. We had Alvin Kamara, Jalen Hurd, Josh Dobbs. This was the year that we were supposed to have won it all. We were top 10. We had 3 SEC Nation games, 4 SEC Nation games, Texas A&M, Georgia, Florida. It was crazy. Like, that year was nuts. And we went to the Outback Bowl our first year, and then we went to Music City. And then the third year was the year that I actually played, which is crazy because I tore my ACL my sophomore year, and then my third year was when everybody had left. So it was like kind of a rebuilding year, trying to see where everybody is. So the class of 2015 was this was their year to try to see where we were, and we had lost a lot of major parts on offense and defense, and not to mention Derek Barnett on the freaking. He has the sack leader record. He beat Reggie White out in Tennessee. So, like, we had a lot of missing parts that we had to go. And to add to that, I tore my ACL, and guess who we played the first game of the next season? Georgia Tech. So, I'm preparing my mind mentally. I'm overcoming the ACL injury. It's different for everybody, but for the most part, I was running at 6 months, but by like 8 or 9, I was comfortable and trusting my body with cutting and stuff like that. I'm prepared. I'm getting my mind right. If you don't know about Georgia Tech football, their offense has changed because they got a new coach now. But they are famous for the wing T offense and triple option. And their offensive line, all they do is cut. They dive at your legs. They dive at your knees. A lot of injuries happen during those gameplay because they cut at your knees. They dive at your knees. That's the point. That's what they do. Coming to that game, the day before the game, I'm announced as a starter, or not a week before, my coaches come to me and tell me, Corte, we want you to be ready for SEC play. We don't want you to play in the Georgia Tech game because of what they do. And I'm like, I didn't bust my behind to get all the way back. I understand that's the best decision, but it sucked. So I sat out the Georgia Tech game. I didn't even play that much. This season, I had 75 tackles, and I didn't even play the first 2 games because of my injury. They were scared. They didn't want to lose me for SEC play, which is understandable, which was smart. So I had 75 tackles on missing 2 games, not even a full season.
And even though this is his 3rd year there,
Another ad. I'm
You
sick
want to
of
get
these
hired before summer
ads.
ends? The hottest
They
tech
have 3
companies-
ads.
though for the season in 2018, he only appeared in 6 games and finished the season with 29 tackles. I'm going to be blunt about this. He didn't have a good season, and he didn't look like a 4, 5, or even a 3-star recruit.
And this is where I draw the line at. He's so biased and not knowing anything that was going on. 2018 was the season that our coach got fired. Butch Jones got fired. Coach Pruitt, Jeremy Pruitt, came in, and we had a new system. This is the part of the things that a lot of people outside in don't know, and somebody that's sticking their head into something don't know shit about. I'm sorry for cursing because he don't know anything. Obviously, we went through a whole coaching change. We went through a whole different defensive coordinator as well, and a whole different scheme. We went from a 4-3 team to a 3-4. My whole body type had to change for this to happen. I normally played will linebacker in a 4-3 scheme at 220. When Coach Pruitt got there, I ended up being 232 and playing inside linebacker in a 3-4 defense. That's 2 different schemes. And to additional to that, Coach Pruitt, we had a lot of different things that were going on internally and with the program as linebackers and stuff. A lot of people were playing. And I'm going to kid you not, 75 tackles at a collegiate level or an NFL level is pretty damn good. I'm going to let you know that right now. That's not an average. See, that's a lot of tackles because at the collegiate level, unlike high school and at the collegiate level and NFL level, it's a lot of players that are playing. There are a lot of people transitioning. There's a lot of people that are certain packages. There's certain guys that are 3rd down packages. There's certain guys that play 1st and 2nd down for a run pass. It's a lot of different packages are in there. I'm not saying that's the best season of 29 tackles. I'm not saying that is a great season. But this guy doesn't know football, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he doesn't even go to touch on the base of what we were going through as a program. So that's why I felt the need to make this video, because we were going through a coaching change. We were going through adversity through the season. Like it was a lot of things that were going on. Yeah, I made a decision what I made, and I stick with it. He don't have anything to do with it. But God forbid, I got somebody that's no older than 22 years old with a receding hairline and living at their mom's house commenting about me in a negative manner that they don't even know all the information about. This guy prides himself, his whole YouTube, on negative input about athletes, diving into their personal lives and making money on it. That's crazy. You got to think about it. Somebody's making money and making their income off of negative things about people. You don't know what part of their life they're going through, if they're going to a tough time, the lowest part of their life. And a Bible quote pinned in the comments to justify what he did. That don't make any sense. I think it's funny. I think you're just putting on a damn shell about yourself. And I don't mind saying it. I really don't. Because what I did at University of Tennessee, I feel honored that I did. You know, it didn't work out as best as I can, but I got my degree. I got my degree in business. I graduated. I made a lot of good relationships. And I played in the NFL. I played in the games and for the Titans. And I can say a lot of people didn't get to do that. A lot of my teammates weren't able to do that. They didn't even get to dress out for a game. They didn't even get to participate in a game. So for him to discredit what I've accomplished and being the first person in my family to graduate and to be successful, you can kiss my ass, Matt.
But for some odd reason, I don't know why, he decided to declare for the 2019 NFL Draft. This is arguably one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen a football player make. He knew he wasn't going to get drafted.
So, I want to clarify this as well. Matt, don't speak on things that you don't know. And I'm going to address this. When I was in college, up until maybe the last year and a half with college football, it has not been really likely, it hasn't been really kind to athletes for transferring. They've been frowned upon. They've been told, that they're weak-minded, that they're quitting, they're trying to run away. So in my mind, I had two options. I had a coaching change at University of Tennessee with a new defensive coordinator. Obviously, we had some issues as far as playing time, had some different things with schemes of things, and I had one more year of eligibility. And I love the University of Tennessee. I bleed orange. I love them so much. I love UT. I love my fan base. I love my original coaches that recruited me. I love it a lot. But I had a decision to make, and honestly, for anybody that's watching this and watching this video, I kid you not, if you're an athlete and you're trying to figure out if you are scared to transfer or you're trying to make a best decision, quite frankly, screw all that. Do what's best for you, not anybody else. And that's what I failed to do. If anything, I made a mistake on. I didn't make the best decision for myself. And I was scared of what everybody was going to think about me and what was going to be said about me as far as a player and as a person personally and my characteristics if I transferred from the University of Tennessee after the season what we had and after the things that were going on internally. So I was left to the face either stay and be unhappy and get the short end of the stick of the things that were going on internally, which I'm not at liberty to disclose because I love my university and I'm not going to do that, or bet on myself. And I betted on myself and I went and trained at one of the best facilities in South Florida, Pete Marmaritos, and performed really well at the pro day and got a lot of recognition. I was betting on myself. I thought I could get drafted. I really believed that. And you know what's funny is that I got calls on the second day from a lot of teams that I was in their top 3 linebackers, top 2 or top 3 linebackers that they were going to take in. And how unfortunate the events have rolled out. One of the guys that actually was drafted by the team that I signed with fell. He was supposed to be drafted in the first 2 rounds. He fell all the way to the 5th, and they took him instead. That's how things. It's crazy how things work in life and in adversity. But at the same time, they still wanted me. The Titans gave me an opportunity, and they signed me. And they wanted me to come and beat one of the older guys out. So it wasn't like I wasn't getting any meetings. I wasn't getting any workouts. I had a lot of different teams, which was surprising to myself because I was scared and nervous as a kid and as a young adult to making this big decision on all these emotional decisions. So if anything you guys take away from this video, do not make emotional decisions. Take a time, talk to your mentors, talk to your family members or somebody that you really trust and make the best decision for yourself. Don't think about anybody else. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay. And that's one of the things I had a hard time figuring out. It's okay to be selfish.
And he really wasn't even healthy enough, so NFL teams weren't even going to look at him. So why?
That's a lie. I was healthy and fine. It was perfectly fine.
He spent 4 years in college, and in those 4 years, he didn't have one good year. He only had 1 year with over 50 tackles, and still, that was mediocre and maybe good at that.
Somebody that has no football background at all is telling me I had not a below mediocre season. Yeah, you guys believe him and his information, wherever he's getting it from.
Shortly after he went undrafted, he announced that on a Saturday night, he was going to start his career as an undrafted free agent for the Tennessee Titans. He wound up tweeting out this: "No matter the circumstances, I'm thankful for what God has in store for me. Tennessee is my home. Hashtag Tighten Up." And that was on April 27th in 2019. Even though he signed an undrafted contract with the Titans, anybody with a brain knew he wasn't going to play for this team. He didn't prove himself in college, so he wasn't even fighting for a...
This is where we're going to get at it. Who the hell is this? This is crazy. I don't even know who this is. This is what's funny to me. Because this is how lazy he is. He typed in my name on Google, and I guess the first image he copies and pastes and saves to file is this. This is not even to me. This is a wide receiver, number 13. Who the hell is this? I wore 40 at the Titans. And nobody was speaking on me not being able to make the team. Everybody in the room, or my family, my peers, everybody, even some of the coaches I can't even speak on, but had belief that I could beat out who I needed to beat out to make the team. They ran the same defense that we ran at Tennessee. It was structured around the same 3-4 defense. It was just unfortunate that I missed the cut. And I sat down with the GM and the head coach at the Titans, and they liked what I did. But they invested in a different area and went elsewhere, and that's fine. It's not that I played bad, and it was crazy that in the preseason I graded out the highest linebacker in the preseason for the team. But MattBeGreats, he's so great at finding information and diving things. He gets incorrect pictures. He's gonna put that out there. So I think that's hilarious that this is the picture that is me. I don't know who the hell that is, but
he was fighting just to stay on the scout team. Ever since 2019, I guess he eventually came to his senses and realized that he was not going to be an NFL football.
And he's discrediting scout team. I'll let y'all know right now. The P Squad, a lot of people shit on the P Squad. Excuse my French. But the practice squad players make more than an average person in America make. They make over 6 figures, at 6 figures. Obviously, if you want to get in the technical part of it with taxes and the state of, yeah. But P Squad, they make over 6 figures. They make right at 6 figures. So I don't know why people discredit practice squad. Somebody that hasn't achieved the highest level of a certain professional sport is telling me practice squad for a professional team is bad. Or that I came to a consensus that I'm not going to be a football player or anything like that. No, I still believe in myself. And he doesn't even touch on the fact of what happened with the COVID year. Every coach I've talked to, every scout I've talked to with college, football, NFL, everybody knows the COVID year really literally ruined recruiting for college, ruins things for football players in the NFL. They literally cut down the camp squad level by 30 players, 20 to 30 players. All those guys that were on the fringe that were working and outworking other guys and trying to beat out other guys weren't able to do that for a whole year because of COVID, because they were so tight on restrictions and everything in NFL. He doesn't even touch on that. It was the same year that all this stuff, the following year, that everything happened. It really messed up everybody's class. That's why college, they gave everybody an extra additional year. NFL still phasing out. After this year, it'll be the first year that everything's going to be back regulated to the normal. So he didn't even touch on that. This is funny.
Football player. What I'm about to tell you, I guarantee you, is going to shock you. As to when I'm currently speaking and up to date on Cortez Sapp, he is now trying to be a Twitch streamer. You can go on his Twitter, it's dedicated_to work.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. Shout out to all the people that came through the stream from Matt's
Sapp,
video.
and he tweets about it all the time. I was scrolling through and it seems like he's pretty dedicated because he tweets about it.
And he tried to be funny because my name is dedicated to work, and he's like, "You're dedicated." Listen, I'm gonna clarify this as well too. A lot of people that came through the stream and told me, I am not a full-time streamer. I do not just stream. It's not one athlete that you know that doesn't play video games and relax in their time off after working out or working. Like, that's what I do. I stream for the enjoyment of myself and being able to do that. The platform of Twitch has been able to open a lot of doors for a lot of different people, and I like it. I mean, I play the game majority of the time. I work out, and come home and play the game. That's all I do. I don't do really too much. Why wouldn't I want to stream? But trying to make it seem like I've given up, I don't do anything, I don't have anything going for my life, I don't have a degree, I don't work, I kind of draw the line. I'm a project manager for a construction company, which is really good opportunity. Football's always not going to be there. And you can hear people say that all the time. Basketball's not going to be there. Sports is not going to be there. It's all about preparing yourself for the next step in life and what you're going to do with it. And what I did with it, I took advantage of the COVID year, and I put myself into good shoes and got a job and started my real life as far as in corporate. Some of my teammates that didn't graduate, and when COVID happened, a lot of them that weren't on teams didn't know what the hell they were going to do. They were scrambling around. They didn't have their degree. They didn't have any work experience, and they were kind of scared. So I at first, it kind of hurt me to my heart that I was kind of embarrassed to say what I do with my life and what I do now, but I'm fine with it. I'm a project manager in construction, and I'm a free agent. I worked out for multiple teams before this season came about, and I'm still grinding for it. I'm only 24 years old. I got a lot of life to live, and I got a lot of things to learn about. So I don't want anybody to take any sympathy or anything like that. Everything happens for a reason, and it's about how you react to it and how you address it and how you approach it face to face. And I think this is a life lesson for people that actually sat through the video and listened and actually listen to what I had to say about it. But I think it's funny that a guy like this makes money off of people's life situations. If you look at his YouTube channel, I've looked down it, and it's all negativity. I don't think it's any one positive video on there. Maybe one I saw about Kobe Bryant's passing, but other than that, it's just negativity. And it's these type of people in the world that make people feel bad, specifically athletes feel bad, as far as if they didn't meet to their standards or accomplish what they deem that should be. And honestly, they can kiss my ass for all I care about that, because everybody has a path, and God has a path for everybody. And it might not be my path with football, but I'm going to continue to keep trying. And after this COVID year, I'm vaccinated, I'm fully vaccinated. I'm going to continue to do so. I haven't got any bad feedback from any scouts. It's just hasn't been my time. And when my time occurs, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be in shape to do so. And until then, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to continue to prepare myself for after football, if football is done for me. And I'm going to be successful regardless. Financially, I'm going to be successful mentally, physically, and I'm going to be healthy about it. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to stop by the video. And like I said, throughout the stream, when I come to the Twitch, when you guys come to my Twitch channel, if you guys have any questions, you have anything about concerns about football, about participating, recruiting, making the decision, I've lived it. I've been through everything. I've been at the top of the podium. I've been to All-American camps. I've been to the Nike Opening, 5-Star Challenge, All-American game. I played with a lot of tremendous players that are really, really good, that are still successful in the NFL now. I don't mind telling you the truth. And I don't mind keeping it 100 with you and helping you so you won't make the same mistakes I've made.
Oh yeah, too. I also saw that he's trying to work on YouTube, but it seems like he's more dedicated to Twitch at the moment. And that's the up-to-date on the guy who flexed or took a bath in all of his offers, whatever you want to call it.
So like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure you guys fact check about the people that you actually get your information from. So if you guys will have any questions and you want to follow my story, make sure you drop a follow. Make sure you got the notifications on. Make sure you sub on YouTube. Like I said, I'm open book. You can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter. I will post all my information on all my social media on below. And peace.